The House passing a coronavirus relief bill at 1 a.m. Saturday morning after drawn-out negotiations between Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin.
The president is expected to sign the deal, but first it has to pass through the Senate. A senior Republican source telling Fox not to underestimate the challenge the bill could face in the Senate. And with that, let's bring in our headliner. He is Texas Congressman Michael McCall. He is ranking member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Congressman, thanks for coming in.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You voted for this package in the wee hours Saturday morning. There were a lot of your Republican colleagues in the House who were not happy that they were handed it at the last minute. They didn't like some of the spending in there. There's some confusion. In fact, we're told there may be some technical corrections because it was passed with such haste. If there's some trouble in the Senate, what next, sir?
Well, look, we're in a crisis. There's no doubt about that. We need to move quickly on this. I don't think we have the luxury of time. I had the same concerns. It was thrown together. I will say the version Nancy Pelosi dropped, the night at the Rules Committee versus what we voted on the floor changed dramatically, and that's primarily because Secretary Mnuchin and the White House were able to negotiate a far better bill on this issue. I think primarily what it does, Ed, is it gets testing out to everyone in America who needs it. Free of cost. We're getting ready to move in to the next 2 months, which will get worse, not better. We're moving from containment now to community spread illness. This is not a time to wait around. I think we need action right now from the Congress. This provides the unemployment insurance. It provides school meals to kids who can't go to school. I think the social distancing, though, factor, if I could say, is probably the most important element we need to talk about to try to keep what Dr. of the NIH talked about, and that was keeping this curve more flat. The next 2 months are going to be critical with this disease, as we saw in South Korea and Italy, two different models. We want to follow the South Korea model, more testing out there, and flatten this curve so we don't have cases increase exponentially.
Whether it comes to the testing, Congressman, or the changes to travel, of course, the president's European travel ban now taking an effect, but over the weekend we saw those crowds of people. You talk about the social distancing, how important it is, but yet then you saw our airports flooded with people in massive crowds, sometimes standing in line for hours. So are we deploying these tactics? Are we deploying these strategies in the best way possible?
Well, I think we can do better. And I've talked to CBP and Department of Homeland Security. I chaired the committee for 3 terms for 6 years. And DFW, my home state, was a nightmare. And they're coming in from out of country. They have to go through the screening, the medical screening, and they're waiting in lines for hours with thousands of people. Talk about, when we were talking about social distancing and the NIH, CDC is talking about this, and yet you've got hordes of people being held up in lines at our airports, literally like a petri dish. That has to be corrected. I think it will be. I think they're going to put more people on overtime and bring new screeners in, medical screeners, to get that process moving far more quickly than it is.
Congressman, you used to be the chair of the Homeland Security Committee, and I wonder as well, to add another element to it, when you see that kind of chaos at airports, the federal government focused, rightly so, on this health crisis, how concerned are you about bad actors around the world trying to take advantage of the United States at a moment like this?
Well, that's why, I don't think the president's getting enough credit for shutting down people coming in from China. Right out of the box, he said all foreign nationals from China cannot come in to the United States. Now, Americans are in a different position. He also screened passengers from South Korea, Italy, and now a travel ban on Europe. These are all very aggressive tactics, but they are tactics necessary to protect the American people from actors that are coming in, whether it be somebody not knowing they have the virus versus people knowing they have it. And also, we always look at bioterrorism. This is always an issue, whether it be at the border, not too far from where I'm sitting here today. We have to stop this virus. We have to contain it from coming in the United States. Now that it's here, we got to flatten that curve and make sure it doesn't spread to more and more Americans. Again, the next 2 months are critical. And then I think as we move into the summer, you're going to see a phasing down of cases. That's where we want to be by summer.
Well, we are as good as the forecast that can be out there right now. We just don't know what is happening next with all this. But we can look at markets this morning, Congressman, and you saw that another trading halt had to happen because circuit breakers were triggered. You've got the Dow off 9.4%. It's another big sell-off on Wall Street, and this as we all try to measure the economic impact of this virus and fears of this virus on our economy. Senator Marsha Blackburn was on Fox and Friends over the week. On Fox News. Oh, she was on Fox and Friends yesterday. She was talking about what can be done to mitigate the economic impact.
What we have to do is think about the entire supply chain. You know, you all were just talking about the cruise lines. Well, what about the dock workers? What about the entertainers or the speakers that have lost their bookings on those cruises? And I've had several in Nashville who have called and have asked me about this. They don't want the burden to end up on small business. And this is something that we're going to look at.
You're fielding similar questions as well, Congressman. What more can be done on that front?
Well, you know, I agree. I think the markets are, there's a lot of uncertainty, obviously, and they're responding very negatively. I will tell you, talking to people like Larry Kudlow, that the fundamentals in our economy are still very strong. That's why we're going to get through this thing. But it is going to have an impact on the markets. I worry about both entertainment, as Marsha talked about, but also the airlines are talking about possibly going into bankruptcy by May. I think if I can say there are two more positive things that have come out recently that I hope will give the markets more reassurance. One are their antivirals, 3 of them now being tested in China on Chinese patients that have shown great promise. So we're getting a report in April next month about that. And the first clinical trial vaccine is being tested today in Seattle, Washington. It'll still take about a year to finalize that, but that's actually some positive news. We have to reassure the markets that this thing is not going to spiral out of control. That's why that bill is so important to pass, because it will give certainty to the markets and it will provide testing that we desperately need throughout the United States.
Yeah, so Congressman, the bill you're talking about, it's in the Senate's hands now. Maybe phase 1 in all of this. Others have said it's phase 2 because there was about $8 billion spent the previous week. Last question then, what do you foresee in terms of how many more phases we may have in terms of helping the airlines, helping hotels, helping the cruise industry?
Yeah, I'm not normally a fan of bailouts. I voted against the bailout back in the crisis back then. But I will say we're going to have to, you know, we did pass $8 billion for research for treatments in the vaccine. The last bill is for families first, to make sure we get the screening, we get paid sick leave, things that everyday Americans are worried about. And I think there will be a third tranche coming out to deal with industry. You know, these the tax cuts that we were talking about that we want to provide to people at middle to low income on their payroll tax, so that they can keep more of what they earn and put back in the economy. Our fundamentals are strong, and I think that is important to say. This is a bit of a curveball coming outside from Wuhan, China. And Marsha's right about supply chain economics. We got to get off the supply chain of China. It's not good for the United States.
A lot of big issues, certainly, Congressman.
Supplies.
Yeah, a lot of big issues, and the health crisis is first and foremost. That's what a lot of people are grappling with. We appreciate you coming in this morning, sir.
Thank you, Congressman.
Thanks, Ed.